Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Susquehanna Soccer Coaches Interview Show, where I'm your host, Anthony Heller, and joining me today are Susquehanna Men's Soccer Head Coach Jim Findlay and Senior Midfielder Angelo Zografos. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Coach, goals have started to flow the last couple of games, so what's been important for the offensive output to increase?
Yeah, I think we talked about ways that we can create more chances. Before you can score goals, you have to create chances, and there was a dry stretch there for a couple of games where, that was a bit of a struggle. Just kind of looked at the 9 goals that we've scored in the last 3 games. They've not all come from the run of play. So while that's important and being able to keep possession and look for ways to unlock the defense, restarts in college soccer are very important. And we've got 6 goals from corners and long throws. And again, it's not always just finding that first ball and then heading it in on a corner kick. It's the scramble that ensues afterwards. So we've done a much better job of getting to that second and third ball and finishing those chances.
All right, so in the last game, you came from 3-0 down. You won 4-3 against Kings, and what was important for you guys to turn that game around?
Yeah, I just feel like, we started off a little slow, down 2-0 in the first half. Second half, we came out. We let up a goal in the first 20 seconds, but to be honest, none of our heads dropped. We still kept the energy, and we just found a way. That's just kind of what college soccer is. Always got to find a way to win. And we popped in our first goal, and then it just kept on coming from there. Kept rolling.
Yeah, I'd agree. At 3-0, a lot of teams would have just phoned it in and said, let's regroup and get ready for the next one. But not these guys. We got those 2 quick goals right after, and all of a sudden now it's 3-2, and there's some belief. And I feel we really dominated the second half. And you got to give Kings credit. I mean, they took it to us in the first half for large stretches, and they played really well. But when they got to 3-2, they tightened up a little bit. We were playing free-flowing soccer, and again found a way to get that third and then ultimately the fourth. And so big momentum switch, both coming out of the flat first half, but really ready to go once we got that first goal to get it to 3-1.
And then how that affect your team in terms of momentum heading towards the conference opener against Scranton on Saturday?
Yeah, I'd like to think that, not just Tuesday night's game, but the other 2 previous games where we've been fortunate enough to play well and to win. A lot of it, winning is a mentality, right? Obviously, there's a physical component to winning games, and then the execution piece that we all talk to, believing in but the mental piece, like believing in the tactics, believing in yourself, believing in each other, knowing that, we don't want to give Scranton a 3-goal lead here on Saturday and expect to come back from that, but knowing that if things aren't going our way, we can buckle down. Let's defend hard, and then again, once we get on the front foot offensively again, now we start creating chances and then ultimately some goals. So again, it should give us some belief for Saturday.
All right. Well, Angelo, in that game, you scored your first 2 goals this season. How do you feel you impacted that game, and particularly in the second half?
Yeah, I feel like coming off the bench, just wanted to give my team that extra spark. Was happy to start second half and, just giving it my all out there. We're playing good as a team out there, and, happened to get that one lucky bounce to finish the first goal, and then from there on, just try and get the second, third, and, eventually I scored a nice third goal, but, just happy to win that game.
Yeah, I think for Ange, we've used him in multiple positions, both last year and this year. Probably more of a natural 9 coming in, but we've needed to use him in different spots throughout the midfield. In the first half, I made a lot of subs, probably more than I really had wanted to. But at that point, when it's 1-0 then 2-0, I'm kind of playing for the second half at that point. So I'm looking to see who's going to rise to the occasion when we're down a goal or 2. Ange did that. He played really well in the first half, and him along with a few others. We had to change the tactics because you're chasing the game a little bit. Flipped them back into the midfield, but as an attacking kind of false 9, and definitely the first goal. Those runs are hard to track for defenders. Like nobody's picking him up coming out of the midfield. Khalil's been able to find those spaces as well too. So it just paid off. So having that versatility at this level is great because you don't know how the game's going to go, and you don't know where you're needed next. And Ange more than stepped up in that game.
Yeah, so how do you feel that you've improved over the course of the season, both individually for you, Angelo, and as a team leading the past 3 games that have all resulted in wins?
Yeah, in starting off like individually, obviously we start off, and myself as well, start off a little bit of a slow start. Not very connecting, fully as a team yet. Not really scoring as many goals in the first, 5 games. But I just feel like camaraderie off the field was a big part of it. All the guys are just locked in together, and we just found a way. We got that one win, and then from there on, we just kept on, connecting, getting chemistry, and eventually started slotting in a lot of goals in the last 3 games.
Yeah, I think some teams are able to find that connectivity earlier in the season. Some teams return a lot of starters from the year before. We were, maybe not as much for us this year. We have 8 seniors, but I said this the other day. Like they're all working hard in practice. They're all being great leaders. But to be honest, a lot of them, no fault of their own, but just don't have the game experience that's necessary as an older group to use that experience towards wins. So incorporating new players, incoming players, incorporating these guys, it took a little bit longer than we had hoped, but we're not a complete finished project yet. But we've definitely made vast improvements from the preseason to now.
Yeah, and then how important has it been for some of the new players on the team to have made the strong starts that they've had?
Yeah, it's always important. I mean, it keeps everybody on their toes for sure. I think if you start with the freshman class, there's definitely some kids that have been able to come in and make an instant impact in the box score, but also in just the way they've played. You can tell they've got extensive club experience. They've played at a good level, and they've been able to make the jump to college soccer a little bit faster than maybe some others, and so that definitely helps when you get that bonus of having some young guys step up. But it's forced our older guys to play better as well too. And so again, like Angelo said, like that camaraderie piece, that's part of it, right? It's not just on the field. The off the field stuff has been great, and the freshmen have really integrated well with the older guys, and vice versa.
Yeah, and Angelo, you're captain this year. How has it changed your role among the team on and off the pitch?
Yeah, I feel like captain, just sort of a label. I feel like you're always a captain, regardless of your role. So, just being kind of the oldest guy on the team, I feel like it's just my job just to, just lead a little extra this year and, push everyone a little bit more of their limits. And yeah, just overall just kind of just help the team out as best I can. That's just what I was trying to do.
And we talked about this at the end of practice yesterday. Again, leadership shouldn't just fall on the 3 named captains, right? They have a higher responsibility, honestly, to the team to hold themselves accountable, and in doing that, and Ange has been able to do that. But if you hold yourself accountable, then you can hold others accountable. But the whole senior class, for my money, in my opinion, they've all stepped up in many different ways. And again, we're all given roles, some that we don't love, and it's how you accept that role and continue to strive to be better, both for yourself and again, others see you. Like we may have some seniors that are reserves right now, and even a couple of them, unfortunately, again, no fault of their own, but just haven't been able to get onto the field. And if you came to practice, you wouldn't be able to tell who's a starter and who's not a starter, because everybody's working hard and everybody's pushing themselves and therefore pushing each other. So their leadership, not just in the 3 captains, they've done a great job, but across the class, I feel is been great so far this season.
Yeah, and coming up, landmark play on Saturday. How do you feel about your chances as a whole in the landmark this year, and what do you think you can do further to improve them?
Yeah, just my mentality is I feel like we can win all the time. Unfortunately, I'm not playing, and but I try to instill that in our players. And again, I talk about mentality a lot. It's all 33 guys buying in, right? The game's is either won or lost on Saturday, but it's not because of just what happens on Saturday. It happens up leading up to now. And again, the team is really performing well in training and getting behind each other, and that needs to continue. So, yeah, it's blank slate, right? Like they're coming in here undefeated. We're 500. Everybody's record is 0-0 on Saturday. So again, if ever, you know, if Ange and his teammates here believe in what we're doing and work hard on both sides of the ball, we were just talking about that before you came in. Like they don't give up a lot. You know, they don't give up a lot of chances. They don't give up a lot of goals. So we got to find a way to do the same. You know, and I like our chances. I like our chances for Saturday. I like our chances of getting back into the playoffs. You know, and once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. So start Saturday.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, you know, conference play is obviously different than any other game we've had leading up to this, but you just gotta have the right mentality. You know, it starts with having that good week of practice, because you know when you're doing practice, you'll do in the game. So you know, if we can start off hot, you know, everyone get in the right headspace and just come out as hard as you can. You know, I always like my chances of winning, so just gotta have that right mentality to win.
And
Yeah.
so, lastly, what have your favorite moments, maybe apart from the obvious on Tuesday, what have your favorite moments been this season?
Yeah, you know, I feel like we've had, you know, a lot of great moments leading up to this, but I would say obviously getting that first goal out of the way against Penn State Harrisburg, I feel like it really sparked the group together. And you know, obviously after that first goal, we started scoring a little bit more, you know, from the first 5 games of the season. But yeah, I would definitely say that first goal, getting that out of the way, just created just like a big spark to the group to, you know, start finishing more.
Yeah, and I just followed that up. I got a few favorite moments, but I just felt like the Keystone game was one. You know, we really played well throughout the whole match, dominated stats and possession, and yeah, we didn't maybe score as many goals and cash in on some of those chances, but it was the first game for my money that we dominated start to finish. And then, you know, we had a couple of rough outings after that, but still had moments in those games as well too. But like Ange said, you know, the goals that we scored against Penn State Harrisburg, who's you know, been a really good team in our region, just started to kick off that belief again that we can do this, and again the last 3 games, you know, we played really well for large stretches and found ways to win. So those would be the best moments for me so far, with hopefully more best moments to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's everything I got for you guys. Thanks for joining me today, and to the fans who tuned in today, make sure to tune in again on our Susquehanna Soccer Coaches Show. As today we welcome Susquehanna men's soccer head coach Jim Findlay and midfielder Angelo Zografos. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out all sorts of Susquehanna content at suriverhawks.com and on social media at GoSusq. We'll see you next week.